traveling from Berlin, Germany to Munich, Germany, because everybody knows if you have a little extra time after the Berlin Marathon, you gotta go to Oktoberfest. So, let's do this. Oh, no, that one. Nope, not the other one. One of the most common questions people ask us about our international travels is the language a huge barrier. So Germany is one of the places where we speak literally next to none of the language, which can make it complicated. Never more complicated than in a train station. There are a handful of reasons for that, but I think it's mostly because there's not a whole lot of English translation in the train stations here. There's some, just not a whole lot. But these trains that we just took us from the outskirts of Berlin to the main train station. And this place is huge. Over to the main train station here in Berlin because of this train. It's an ice train, which is the brand for German high-speed rails. This baby can go 186 miles an hour or 300 kilometers an hour. It's fast. So our trip from Berlin to Munich will be just a little over 4.5 hours, which is also about the max we like to drive with our RV. So pretty reasonable travel day, but a lot more relaxing. If you've never traveled by train throughout Europe, I highly recommend it. This is so much easier than traveling by car around here, and the trains are so comfortable. As you can see, they have food carts, and you get to see amazing views of the country that you wouldn't see otherwise. It's a good way to wake up, isn't it?
As we're going to sleep. You can see the next one? Ooh, how I wonder what you are. Look. Remember the firefly? And flashlight? Lighthouse.
We made it, Dashman. Are you excited to get off the train? Train number 3, but our last one for the day.
Since we've been in Germany, we've been using Google Maps a ton, and we do throughout most of Europe, and generally speaking, throughout most of the world. Now, there's an exclusion there, and that is Liechtenstein, where we rented a car and almost drove us off a cliff, but that's a story for another day completely. It's no different really than if you were in some of the big cities like Chicago and New York that have the subway systems. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We've been easily navigating. Now, see, I've got like driving, train, walking directions. So we just came up from the train system and now we're going to the hotel.
It's a wonderful day to wander, and we are so beyond excited to bring you along on today's adventure.
We are going to bring you to Oktoberfest. Not like the Oktoberfest at your like local beer pub, but like the Oktoberfest in Munich or München, Germany.
Let's do this. Oh, but first, coffee.
I mean, when we start by showing you our amazing outfits, I mean, check this out. So this is called a lederhosen or lederhosen. Bam. Now, let's see what Lauren's wearing today.
And this is a dirndl, which is basically a classic version of a Bavarian dress. All the cool kids are wearing them these days. Before we take you into Oktoberfest, there are a couple things that you need the 411 on. First, in Germany, it's kind of like the US where it's broken up into states. There are actually 16 states that make up Germany, and here in Munich, we are in Bavaria. And Bavaria has a really long, incredible history. There have been kings and emperors and all sorts of wild stuff. And it all ties back into how Oktoberfest came to be. And we'll tell you a little more about that as we get closer.
One of the most important things to know before you walk through the front gate at Oktoberfest is that cash is king. So if you're planning on bringing your Amex or Visa, don't hit the ATM beforehand, because even though there may be ATMs on site,
There definitely are.
there definitely are. Yeah, the fees have to be crazy. So hit your ATMs at your hotels or somewhere around where you're staying, but definitely don't come here and try to hit your ATMs because they're gonna charge you astronomical fees. So bring cash, and not only that, it'll get you through the lines a lot faster because, well, sometimes they only have a handful of those machines and they have to pass them around, and that takes time. So cash will get you everything you're looking for a lot faster too.
Have you seen anywhere that even takes a card though? I haven't seen anywhere.
That's a good point.
So, two things there. First, this is not our first rodeo at Oktoberfest. Daniel and I came back in 2019 when he ran the Berlin Marathon, so we've been here a time or two. Not to say that makes us an expert, because, well, we're Americans and we're basically not experts at anything in Europe. But one thing that I would say that you may and probably wouldn't know if you've never been here before, you actually don't have to pay anything to get into the festival. It's totally and completely free to walk around. You can walk into any of the tents. You can do literally anything you want. It's completely free. It's not until you start buying the beer, which everybody does, or food, games, etc., that you start spending a pretty penny.
Here's something that we did not know before visiting Oktoberfest the very first time. Despite the name Oktoberfest, a majority of the event takes place in September with only a handful of days during the beginning of October. So if you're planning on coming, plan for September.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Oktoberfest, isn't this just a big drunk party? In some ways, absolutely correct, but it's actually a really family-friendly event too. And Dash, of course, is excited about making his appearance here. Super excited.
I will add the fact that before 8 p.m., it is considered family-friendly, but after 8 p.m., that's really more of the adult hours. So if you're planning on coming with a kid, try to come earlier in the day. And not only that, one of the really cool things about coming today is that you don't necessarily need a reservation at the big beer tents because they can be really, really hard to get. So sometimes reservations, for instance, start at 4 p.m. So if you're planning on coming around Munich, you've got a 4-hour window where you can enjoy all the beer tents, which is really cool because we're going to show you some of them and they're mind-blowing. We made it about 15 feet through the entrance and Lauren spotted these cookies. Now, here's the backstory on these cookies, at least what we were told. They're gingerbread cookies and they're typically known for having terms of endearment on them like baby, I love you, and things like that. Now, that being said, there are some that just say Oktoberfest and things like that. So it's not just terms of endearment, but for the most part, we're told that's exactly what it is. Now, the idea is that you take one of these cookies and then you give it to a loved one, and that's just supposed to be a kind gesture. So I feel like the world needs more gingerbread cookies that just have nice things on them, don't you?
But now that we've got a cookie, it's time to take you in to your first beer tent.
All right, I just showed you the prices. Bottles start at 170 euros and they go up to, you'd have to go back and pause it, but like $2,400 a bottle, unless that's like a really big Magnum, that could be the case, but still, I think we'll stick to the beer. Apparently that's one of the newer tents, and by newer I mean it's all of these have been around for a very long time.
I don't think that's one of the newer tents. I think that's one of the oldest ones.
Was it?
Are you sure?
I don't know. We'll have to, one of you that's been here, do your little fact finder mission to figure out if that tent we were just in is one of the newer tents or one of the oldest tents. One really cool thing about these tents is that they take anywhere from 2.5 to 3 full months to erect, and it usually takes them about half of that time to break it down. Now, an interesting thing that we learned just recently is that the actual location where they store these in the off season is a secret.
Top secret.
Like top secret. So these tents, there's a lot that goes into them, and they are like kept under lock and key in the off season, and nobody knows where. Some people believe it's like out in the countryside, some rural area, and it's like big barn areas.
Which
but
is probably
apparently
pretty likely.
it's probably pretty likely. Yeah, but that's kind of a fun fact about these big tents.
Speaking of the tents, one of the things that I thought was really interesting is I just assumed, so if you go into any one tent, they only sell one type of beer. And so I just assumed that the actual tent was owned by the breweries. That's not true. They're owned by families in around the Munich area, and have been for centuries.
One of the things we've never done, even though it's our second time here, is we've never gone through all the beer tents. So we figured if you're curious to know what all the beer tents look like, you probably are as well. So that was the very first beer tent. There's a few of them. And there's a lot. So we're gonna go take you into the next beer tent. It's called, I will destroy pronunciation of these names, but I think it's Fischer Brony. So let's go check it out.
ist eine gute, eine schöne Tradition.
I am not even going to begin to pronounce this beer tent, but it has Paulaner on it, so we're just gonna go with that for now. When I see the horses like this, because I'm from the States, it automatically reminds me of the Budweiser Clydesdales, but obviously, you know, this is not a Budweiser themed event. There are certain, it seems like a few of the brewers here have their own horse, kind of, I'm not sure what you call it, I'm gonna... Horse setup? Yeah, if you know what it's called, then please let me know. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. The horses are huge. They're maybe not as big as Clydesdales, but they still have that majestic look to them with the kind of the fluffy lower legs. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Dash, what do you think, buddy? You having fun? There's the Hofbräu wagon setup, horses and wagon. I'm sure there's an official name for this.
One thing I will say is if you are planning on coming to Oktoberfest, don't feel like you have to get an outfit and the whole nine in the States. Honestly, I got this little dress off of Amazon, and for just a little bit more money, I could have gotten an actually authentic one here, and I really wish I would have done that. So, in the future, if you're coming, get your gear here, just get here a couple days early.
around the table, so we're gonna grab a beer because we worked up an appetite. Even though we haven't been here that long. Need to stay hydrated properly, Oktoberfest style. They even brought Dash his own little beer glass, beer stein. Just for the record, this is not beer. It is apple juice or something like that. 0 alcohol. This is parenting 101 here. Always have fun with your children. Hi, buddy. Woo! That being said, he does prefer the juicy packs over the apple juice. He's like addicted to these things. We try to like cut him off after a couple. Now Dash has found the cookie and he's obsessed. Right, buddy? You want the cookie? You want the cookie? There we go. There's a transfer of power happening here. Dash is now officially the cookie monster. Look, Daddy is matching. We're matching.
Probably noticed, and we showed you, those beer steins are freaking humongous, but that is basically the only size of beer you can buy in one of these beer tins, a full liter. So if you've got a wonderful partner like mine, you can share them, aka I drink like a third of mine and Daniel gets to drink the rest because I can't really drink that much beer. But you will also notice in the tins, it's getting a little bit later in the day, everybody's had a stein. Maybe two, and so people are starting to stand on the tables and dance and sing to all of like the traditional Bavarian songs. It's so much fun.
And not just Bavarian songs, maybe some Sweet Carolina,
of course.
And some of your like typical favorite songs.
Sweet
Home Alabama. Yeah, exactly.
Which
is kind of funny to hear Sweet Home Alabama in Munich, Germany.
But I mean, hey, in America we do have some pretty solid music.
That's
Definitely
true.
good sing-alongs.
That's true. In case you want to take your swinging experience to a whole new level, they've got a swing here that is, I mean, it's really, really tall. Let me show you. It's really tall. Check this out.
nur hier bei den Sultan. Sanatoria, Akrobatik und natürlich vom Allerfeinsten. Er reitet auf seiner Indian Scout 101 bei 1928 durch die Wand.
Ganze Familie. Das weiß keiner wahrscheinlich. Weißt du, Kim's einig.
There comes a point in the day at Oktoberfest, it's currently only 2:45. But to be fair, this is the last weekend and it is a Friday, that it turns into a little bit of a you-know-what show. And because we have Dash with us, it's not really quite our scene, so we're gonna call it a day for Oktoberfest today. But true story, this place is so incredibly fun. If you've never been, you absolutely have to put it on your bucket list because it's just an incredible experience. It's culture, it's history, it's silly fun, and it's a great way to wander local because, as you know, it's good for the soul. You gonna say bye-bye, Dash? Say see you soon, friends.
Say bye-bye. Bye-bye, friends.